AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas. That's where the Dallas Cowboys invite the Arizona Cardinals in for Monday Night Football. Kyler Murray back in the state of Texas where it all got started. And Dallas with the weight of their season now on Andy Dalton's shoulders. So, Dan, as for the Cowboys and Cardinals tonight on ESPN, what are you watching for?
If Andy Dalton can carry this football team to a win, because if you don't tonight against a Cardinals defense that's bottom 10 in the NFL when they had Chandler Jones, in a secondary that's bottom 5 in the NFL when they had Chandler Jones and no longer does, the Cowboys season would be officially over. Andy Dalton has to win tonight for this Cowboys football team.
Yeah, and D.O., he wrote a tat across his stomach saying, "Feed me." And will that be the Dallas Cowboys plan tonight to feature Zeke Elliott? They've been needing to throw for all of those yards that Dak has been because they found themselves behind and early turnovers. Tonight should be about 21. Feed the man.
Laura, I was promised an explosive Cardinals offense, and they've just been okay. But tonight, they get to play the Cowboys defense. I want to see Kyler Murray work in the middle of the field, and I want to see him getting guys not named DeAndre Hopkins involved. Christian Kirk, Andy Isabella. Let's see some secondary options to make this Cardinals offense look as good as we thought they'd be.
And the Cardinals and the Cowboys and the Chiefs and the Bills, all of whom are playing tonight, have been cleared COVID testing-wise. Players, coaches, personnel, and so the games are on. And that's always a question each week of the NFL season now. It always feels perilous, but we know we have football tonight.
That is great news, Adam Schefter. And welcome to NFL Live, everybody. Very busy Monday here. Don't worry, even with 2 games tonight, we're still going to talk about yesterday's action. And coming up, why Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers' jerseys post-game were actually key to the game. Dan Orlovsky's here. You saw Mina Kimes and Marcus Spears and Adam Schefter, of course, a little less than an hour from kickoff in Orchard Park, New York. That's where the Chiefs and Bills are getting ready to go. You see Patrick Mahomes there, that game on Fox. And it's a little rainy and wet there, so we'll get into that in moments, featuring a couple of great young quarterbacks there. And of course, I'm talking about Patrick Mahomes, the league leader in total QBR with a mark of 82.3 this season after ranking second last season behind MVP Lamar Jackson. Speaking of MVP, Josh Allen has thrown for more yards and just as many touchdowns as Mahomes did through 5 games of his 2018 campaign. However, our Football Power Index is presenting some bulletin board material for Buffalo as it believes the Chiefs have a 67% chance to win. For more on tonight's game, let's bring in Diana Rossini from Orchard Park, New York. Diana, you're all bundled up, less than an hour to kick off tonight over on Fox. What are the conditions like out there an hour before kickoff?
Yeah, my clothing is a little dramatic. It's not that bad here, but it has been consistently raining all day long. I was here around 11 a.m. and it has not stopped. You can see the rain behind me here, and it's been pretty damp. It's about 50 degrees. By kickoff, it should feel somewhere up in the high 40s there. So obviously this is going to be a factor in the game as it could potentially be a little sloppy. Now, another factor in this, Laura, is I was talking to someone that works with the Bills out here on the field a few minutes ago, and he told me that recently they added some fill to the field. So what that is, it's basically just this black rubber turf that they added to the field. And what this does is this just helps with footing, especially for receivers, which you got to figure if you're the Bills defense, the last thing you want is to give Tyreek Hill better footing out there when you know that he's got that speed working in his favor. But it's really this Bills offense all week long that has been focused on fixing those mistakes that they made against the Tennessee Titans. They were lethargic, they were sloppy last week. So Josh Allen focused on cleaning that up today, but when it comes to what we can expect from them, I did speak to another coach today out on this field about what the plan is for today, because I was curious about the run game. We know this Chiefs defense, they have some trouble in that space, and I said, you know, are you going to maybe perhaps pick it up there, run the ball more today? It's not something you guys do well, you don't do it often, but maybe today's the day you do that. And this coach said to me, no, we are not changing our identity. This is for Josh Allen. This game is, or at least our offense is centered around him and his strength. And his strength is throwing the ball, his accuracy improving. So today, look for those deep shots. As you know, Stephon Diggs is #1 receiver, along with John Brown now in the game as well. He's going to have a field day out there against his secondary.
All right, Diana, go wash off your hand there, and we'll have more from you a little later on, getting closer to kickoff of that game with some key updates. As she was just saying that, Dan Orlovsky's over here like, Marcus, I love that they're going to continue to keep with the way that this Bills offense has functioned. But how do you think, Marcus, the Chiefs defense should scheme for Allen tonight, especially knowing that things aren't going to really change with that offense?
Yeah, they have to learn, the Chiefs defense have to learn from their past transgressions, and that's against the Oakland Raiders when John Gruden went bombs over the top of their head all game long and then worked the intermediate route because he had guys that could do it. Henry Ruggs was a guy taking the top off. Nelson Aguilar took the top off of this defense. So I expect Spagnuolo, the defensive coordinator for the Kansas City Chiefs, to not allow Josh Allen, John Brown, Stephon Diggs to have these huge plays that they've been hurting people with all season long. The second thing is this. We're seeing a trend in the league right now where if you can rush for and keep more guys in coverage, it's having to make these quarterbacks play patiently and taking them away from those big splash plays that they want to make. So I expect that from the Chiefs, to learn from their past transgressions.
Adam, what do we know about John Brown, some of the other inactives tonight in Bills Chiefs?
Well, some interesting developments there, Laura. John Brown is active tonight. The Bills were preparing to have him and his big plays back in the lineup. He's active, as is Zach Moss, the rookie running back who also has missed time. So the Bills have two added weapons on the offensive side of the football. On the defensive side, Tre'Davious White listed as questionable. He's also active. Matt Milano, the linebacker, however, is inactive. And that's one of the reasons that Buffalo's defense this season so far hasn't been quite as strong as other years. Matt Milano is essential to that defense. He is inactive tonight, Laura.
Yeah, Mina, you're a big Matt Milano fan, but as you hear that update on the actives and inactives specifically for the Bills tonight, how does that factor in for them?
Matt Milano was my hipster name last week. I said his absence would be a big deal. I think it was. This week, I'll go positive and say having John Brown back in the lineup is huge for Buffalo because he's not the number one receiver, but I thought his absence was dramatically felt against Tennessee for a few reasons, really. One, the combination of him and Cole Beasley makes it a lot harder to play zone, which I anticipate Kansas City doing following the Titans' blueprint. It makes it harder for defenses to key in on Stephon Diggs. You might remember Josh Allen forcing that throw to him that was almost picked off at one point in the game. And on top of that, the Buffalo Bills play more four wide receiver sets than any team in the NFL. Last week, that dramatically dipped with John Brown out. They've had great success doing that, and I anticipate with him back in the lineup, we might see more of that 10 personnel tonight.
Yeah, Mina mentioned last week, and certainly an embarrassing performance against the Titans for them, a short turnaround for the Bills. What do we learn, Dan, about the Bills tonight?
How good they really are. You know, and this is not necessarily as much about, they're playing the Kansas City Chiefs, but if you're going to be really a contender, not just necessarily for the rest of the season, but into January when the playoffs come into the picture, you got to win this type of game because I want to see how Josh Allen responds. And Brian Dable, their offensive coordinator, responds when a team goes, no, you're not going to play the way that you want to play. We're going to force you to play off of your B game or your C game. Think about the defenses that are better ones in the AFC. Pittsburgh, New England, Baltimore, Tennessee. Teams that will force you to play the style of ball that you don't want to. Can you show me, Josh Allen, after last week in national television when you couldn't do it, that you could do it tonight? Can you play and hit for average? Don't be the home run hitter because that's the way you become a quarterback rather than just a thrower. I'm fascinated to see that tonight.
Yeah, the Bills have lost 6 straight games against defending Super Bowl champions. They're seeking their first such win since beating them. The Browns and the Steelers, and not probably Baker Mayfield's favorite game. We're going to show you why. He was dealing with a rib injury in this game. Early first quarter, the Browns down by 3 and 3rd and 6 there. Minka Fitzpatrick saw this coming all the way.
Yeah, he dropped down from a 2-high safety down to a 1-hole safety. That slants going right to where he is. It's an easy play. Look at Minka is showing you a safety on the hash. Ball gets snapped. Now I drop down. I'm right in your throwing lane. That ball should go to Odell Beckham on the outside. Baker Mayfield assumed or predetermined that it was going to be a 2-high shell. Easy interception for the Pittsburgh Steelers safety.
Second quarter, the Browns are already down 17-0. Nothing happened there, but Baker Mayfield able to at least avoid the sack by TJ Watt, but it wasn't pretty.
Don't make a bad play worse. TJ Watt got a great jump off the ball, but I love this by Odell. trying to be a leader, but making a bad play worse by Baker Mayfield there.
That Steelers defense, Dan, just swarming him all day long.
And those hits right there hurt the worst. You're hanging on, you're trying to get that ball away, and that hit in the middle of your back, you feel that. I felt it watching it.
Early third quarter, Bud Dupree getting involved.
And this is what happens when a defense tees off on a quarterback. Bud Dupree knew Baker Mayfield was going to keep that ball. Easy sack.
Baker Mayfield was taken out of that game. The Browns end up losing. Marcus, you were a guy that challenged Baker earlier on this season. You thought he needed to play better for this Browns team to have a chance to win championships. What did you make of Baker yesterday?
Yeah, Laura, that's a great point. Look, I've talked about this for a while now, and I just think Baker is an average and sometimes below average quarterback, depending on who he's playing against. And I hate to say it because a lot of people wanted to see Baker succeed. I did as well. This league is hard. You want to see players have success, overcome some adversity, but this is who he is. Like, we talked about the season and everybody started going crazy about the games that they won. They were running the football. Stefanski was doing a tremendous job making sure Baker was as comfortable as any quarterback in the NFL. And the time came when he needed to quarterback the Cleveland Browns to having a chance to win a game, and it didn't show up once again. We talked about the turnovers. Dan brought up the fourth quarter QB rating. We've had this discussion for a couple of years now. And when we get to these games, these are the ones you judge quarterbacks off. Can you overcome the things when it isn't right? And I just hadn't seen that from Baker for the majority of his career up until this point.
Yeah, Marcus, you know this. I got 4 kids at home. They call you Uncle Swagoo. And my 4 kids, I tell them all the time, like, listen,
yes,
you can't leave crumbs everywhere because if you don't pick up your crumbs, they become a mess. And I think Baker Mayfield has left some crumbs on tape. One was the Minka Fitzpatrick interception, and I'm going to show you the reason why the second interception happened. This is TJ Watt at the bottom of the screen right here. I want everyone to pay attention to the play clock. Defenders study the play clock in relation to the quarterback because they know once the clock hits a certain number, the ball is going to come. So everyone pay attention to this play clock as it ticks down, and then Baker Mayfield's hands, because his hands are the crumbs. Watch, he's going to show those hands right there. He's trying to say, hey, dummy cadence, give me the snap, I'm ready for it. But TJ Watt knows, no. There's still 6 seconds left on the play clock. You're not actually asking for the football. But they know once it hits about 4 seconds, and that quarterback may show his hands, that ball's coming. Everybody watch TJ Watt because TJ Watt's not looking at the football right now. TJ Watt is watching Baker Mayfield's hands. And as this clock goes down from 6 to 5 to 4, you're going to see Baker Mayfield, his hands have now flashed. Baker Mayfield's hands has flashed, and the clock is at 3 seconds. TJ Watt knows that ball is coming. I don't have to listen to the cadence, and I don't have to watch the football. I'm going to watch the quarterback hands. Look, has anybody else on that Pittsburgh Steelers defensive line moved? Absolutely not. But one guy has. TJ Watt has already moved a yard. He's already in the backfield before the ball is even behind the center's backside from that snap. What happens? Party at the quarterback already. TJ Watt found that crumb that Baker Mayfield had left on tape, and he utilized it to his advantage. Baker Mayfield has some flaws in his game, and for this Browns offense to go to where it should, he has to clean them up now.
Yeah, everyone should have seen all the crumbs you left in the green room before the show, Dan. Great tape either way. Mina, on the other side, what did you make of Ben Roethlisberger and the Steelers' offense in this game?
I thought it was terrific. Steelers fans got mad at me last week when I compared Ben Roethlisberger to Ben Simmons. I meant it as a compliment. So I'm going to change it up this week and call him Chris Paul because he's point guarding this offense. And it's working, right? He's playing an extremely cerebral brand of football. He sees the field. He's making all the right checks. He is facilitating. But unlike Chris Paul, he is surrounded by playmakers. And that's why this Steelers offense has Super Bowl potential. Okay, it's really a pick your poison situation with these wide receivers. Some weeks it's going to be James Washington beating you with a double move. Other weeks, Juju in the slot. And Chase Claypool, Laura, like, I don't want to be dramatic. I realize early
be dramatic.
in this young man's career. He's got all-pro potential. I mean, he's like this hybrid of DK Metcalf with the size and speed, but then sometimes they use him like Deebo Samuel on the jet sweeps. They do a terrific job of scheming him open. Dan, last night we were talking about those condensed splits. He is a true star. And Ben Roethlisberger doesn't have to be great. All he has to do is be smart and good.
Yeah, the Steelers' next 3 games, we'll know exactly how good they are. Titans, at Ravens, and then at Cowboys. And speaking of that next opponent, the Titans, we've got some breaking news now on NFL Live with Adam Schefter related to the Titans.
Thanks very much, Laura. Moments ago, the NFL informed the Tennessee Titans that it has wrapped up its investigation of the outbreak that they had with COVID-19. And what the league found was that basically there were people not wearing face masks. There were some communication issues about what the Titans could and couldn't do with workouts, organized workouts. But the league did find that they observed rules and they were in compliance inside their facility. The facility had some upgrades done. In the end, ultimately, the Titans organization will face a potential fine here, but there will not be any suspensions for any individuals. There will not be any forfeiture of draft picks. There were some people who initially thought that these penalties could be severe. We followed a story yesterday on ESPN.com that said that it wasn't going to go down that way. And again, today, a short time ago, the NFL made it official, informing the Titans that there will not be suspensions, there will not be a loss of draft picks, but there is the potential for a fine for some of the issues that the team did engage in.
And as you told us earlier on the show, Adam, no positive tests for both of the games tonight. You're with us for the rest of the hour. And still to come on NFL Live, we're getting you ready for Monday Night Football. Dak is out for the season. The Red Rifle is in at quarterback for Dallas. The Cardinals and Cowboys game picks coming next on NFL Live. Schefter now with us for injury updates around the league after Week 6. And let's begin with the Steelers' Devin Bush. What do we know, Adam?
Big loss, Laura. Devin Bush tore his ACL on Sunday. He will have season-ending surgery. He was the Steelers' defensive signal caller. He had played every snap this season. He was one of the best players on one of the best defenses in the entire NFL, and now he is done for the season, as is the Tennessee Titans offensive tackle Taylor Lewan, another Michigan man. Rough weekend for Michigan men as Taylor Lewan tears his ACL in the game. He will miss the remainder of the season. He tweeted today that the MRI confirmed the ACL. He suffered the injury in the third quarter, and now Tennessee's offensive line will be shorthanded. The Eagles suffered their own big injuries on Sunday. Zach Ertz, according to Mort, is going to be out about a month. I know he suffered a high ankle sprain, which is going to be tough for him to come back with. And Miles Sanders is going to miss 1 to 2 weeks with a knee injury. Keep in mind, the Eagles play the Giants on a short week this Thursday, and so it'll be tough for them to replace those guys when they were already missing some of their offensive players. Dak Prescott, meanwhile, has had no setbacks in regards to an infection to the compound fracture on his ankle. He officially was placed on IR today and is on track to be back in 7 to 8 months. I think the Cowboys doctors were concerned that an infection could set in. We saw that happen with Alex Smith. That didn't happen here with Dak Prescott. And once he was put on IR, that created a roster spot, and the Dallas Cowboys activated Leighton Vander Esch, the linebacker who fractured his clavicle in the regular season opener, and Vander Esch is expected to play tonight against the Arizona Cardinals, Laura.
Yeah, Adam, you're also a Michigan man, so thank goodness you're not on any injury report anywhere, and we will see you on Monday Night Countdown right here on ESPN at 6 Eastern. So go ahead and get ready for that as we all night long getting you ready for Monday Night Football, the Cowboys and the Cardinals here on ESPN. You heard Marcus, Adam just mention it, the return of Leighton Vander Esch. How big a deal is that for this Dallas D?
It's a huge deal for the Dallas defense, obviously instilling confidence. And the last we saw, the Dallas Cowboys have a lot of success defensively. One, Rob Marinelli was there, and they were playing a more attack-style defense. But it was Jalen Smith and Leighton Vander Esch in the center of that defense. Both speed, they get to the ball with bad intentions, and we were talking about this young linebacking core possibly becoming one of the best in the league. So to have him back is huge. Now, how effective he'll be after being out against this fast-paced offense and Kyler Murray breaking the pocket, will he be able to track that down? I'm not sure. Have to wait and see until the game starts. But it's definitely a shot in the arm for this Dallas defense, level, if not for anything but their mental makeup at this point.
Mm-hmm. And this is a defense, Marcus, that, as we've discussed a lot on this show, has made a lot of mental mistakes. The front seven is everything in this game. Because I'll tell you, that secondary is not going to stop DeAndre Hopkins. I'm sorry, it's over. But what they can do is try to win up front, or at least contain Kyler Murray. Look, I'm about to say something nice about the Dallas defense, all right? Get ready. I know, it's shocking. Jalen Smith and DeMarcus Lawrence played really well last week. Both had their best games of the seasons by far. Aldon Smith's been good all year. If those guys can show up, and Aldon Smith can play well, and they cannot break contain, as you mentioned, it's so key to keep Kyler Murray in the pocket and force him to stay there and pass the ball. They've got a shot in this thing, but it's going to come down to that front seven.
Yeah, Dan, when you think about Kyler Murray tonight and returning home to the state of Texas, where he's broken pretty much every high school record in high school football there in Texas, he's certainly going to be juiced for this one. What do you expect out of Kyler against that Dallas defense?
Well, the downside for Dallas is everything that Arizona and Kyler like to do offensively is Dallas's weakness. Like, Dallas's weakness is, discipline, having discipline. Well, they struggle in that. Balls to the left to DeAndre Hopkins. They struggle with that. Communication defensively. They struggle with that. So be where you're supposed to be. They struggle with that. In Arizona, as you see, they like to attack you with tempo. They like to give you a bunch of things pre-snap. They like to push the ball to the perimeter. They like to get you out of position defensively. So all the things that this offense is really predicated upon, and the way that they get their playmakers the football is going to stress Dallas so much, especially stress the things that they've shown as flaws or weaknesses. I think this could be a very dangerous performance for the Dallas Cowboys defense because Kyler is so special and the scheme is not a good match for them.
Yeah, the Cardinals utilize the second fewest seconds per play in the NFL. Only the Cowboys actually have played at a quicker pace. And as for Kyler Murray, he struggled at times with accuracy during his rookie campaign, but this season he's completing nearly 70% of his pass attempts with an on-target percentage that ranks fourth in the NFL. His increase in accuracy from last season to this season trails only that of Josh Allen, Russell Wilson, and Aaron Rodgers. Now, adding DeAndre Hopkins, that certainly helps. He's hauling in 85% of the targets in Arizona. So for more on Murray, let's bring in Lisa Salters, who's part of the broadcast team on tonight's game. Kyler Murray is going to walk into AT&T Stadium like he owns the place, because he kind of does own the place, Lisa. What can you tell us there?
Well, Laura, today is Kyler Murray's pro debut at AT&T Stadium, but he's already a perfect 6-0 here as a starting quarterback. Going back to his days as a prep star at nearby Allen High School, he won 3 consecutive Texas state championships on this field and was named MVP in all 3. I asked Murray's high school coach, Tom Westerberg, what made Murray special back then, what makes him special now, and Westerberg said, he's a perfectionist who's going to raise the level of play of everybody around him. Murray told us his return to Dallas shouldn't really be about him, that it's the Cardinals versus the Cowboys, but he did say, anytime you come home, you want to win. Murray will also see one of his favorite targets from his days at Oklahoma tonight, Cowboys rookie receiver CeeDee Lamb. Both Murray and Lamb told me that they are the best of friends, but they said there have been no phone calls or texts this week. The love, they both said, that'll come after the game. Laura?
Yeah, about 3 hours and 25 minutes to kick off there on Monday Night Football. Thanks so much, Lisa. Time now for some game picks, guys, between this Cowboys and Cardinals game. Mina, who you taking?
I'm reluctantly taking Dallas. I know we just poo-pooed their defense, but I actually think they have a better pass rush than Arizona at this point. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. Give me the Cowboys.
I'm going to take the Cardinals. I've spoke glowingly about their offense and its potential, and I spoke truthfully about the Cowboys' defense. I think DeAndre Hopkins will be way too much in this pass game, carries the Cardinals to a win.
I'm taking the Cowboys, and it's because I think they'll feature Zeke Elliott tonight. And the one thing you want to do against the Cardinals is keep the ball away from their offense and use the guy that is making $90 million. I still think the point to get up there, Andy Dalton to make some plays downfield, but this will be about Zeke and the Cowboys tonight.
All right, guys, so we're evenly split on the game picks because I'm taking the Cardinals, and I think it has to do with Andy Dalton making his first start in 295 days. That's when he beat the Browns in Week 17 of last season, so he's got experience, but it's been a while. The Cardinals win this one. Hey, top of the hour over on Fox, it's Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs against the Bills. You see him there warming up in a rainy and cold.
Looks downfield, throws left side, it's intercepted. Down the right sideline to the end zone, touchdown. The first turnover of the season for the Packers is a pick six for Tampa Bay.
I played for so long, you're going to have a couple stinkers.
Rodgers takes the snap, throws it short. It's intercepted again.
Might need to add an extra finger to the scotch.
That will do
I
it.
think we need a kind of a kick in the a little bit as a little bit of a wake up.
You know, I think Aaron Rodgers is already like 4 fingers on the scotch, so maybe he's adding another one, and that's going to be 5. That's a lot of scotch, but after what happened yesterday against the Bucs, he might need it. So anyway, yeah, they sacked him 5 times. Mina, for the last couple of weeks, the talk around Rodgers has included the letters MVP. What happened yesterday?
He played a actually good defense, and those are rare in today's NFL. But look at who the Packers played in the first few weeks of the season: Minnesota, Detroit, Atlanta. The Bucs are for real, and they're also built in a way that I believe is uniquely structured to face Green Bay. Laura, all season long, Packers fans have been saying, oh, no number 2 wide receiver, no problem. After Allen Lazard went down and Devontae Adams wasn't playing, it didn't seem to make a difference, and all of our offseason hand-wringing looked mistaken. But yesterday, you saw the problem when Aaron Jones is your number 2 wide receiver, and he was limited for 3 catches for 26 yards, I believe, because the Bucs have arguably the 2 best linebackers in the NFL. They're certainly in the mix, and they're able to shut down this kind of offense. I really think if the Packers had a number 2 wide receiver, they would have had a better shot in this game in particular, because they would have been able to target someone else in the Bucs secondary, but instead, they didn't have a chance.
Oh, yeah, Mina, listen, it's not an argument right now, or I don't think anymore during the season, between Levante David and Devin White. This is the best linebacker duo in the league. And it's not only because they're so good in the run game and they have the ability to have that type of range from both guys. Usually you have one linebacker that can go sideline to sideline. Both of these dudes, look at Devin White right here. Listen, this is a highlight tape. This ain't no telly. Y'all ain't gonna learn nothing. This is about you not being able to get your center up on my linebacker because I'm too damn fast. Let's go the opposite way is what Green Bay said. Well, they got another guy, Levante David, backside. Don't try to get your center up. I don't care if he free releasing. He's not going to be able to get to these 2 guys. They change how you want to run the football. And the other thing is, which a lot of linebackers like this don't get enough credit, they physical at the point of attack as well. So these guys are helping this Tampa defense. The defensive line is really good. When you look at what Tampa was able to do, they used their talent to exploit the weaknesses in that defense. You're exactly right, Mina. But this is the best duo in the league.
Marcus, I still learned something there. And by the way, this is going to come as a shocker, but Dan actually does have a telly right here, so we can learn a little bit more. It's not just about the personnel, though, for the Bucs, right, Dan?
Well, let me learn you something. Well, it's not always just about pressure. Sometimes it's like how you pressure and who you pressure with. And it's not always about the quarterback. It's about affecting other people. Put 7 guys up at the line of scrimmage. Defensive tackles become defensive ends. Defensive ends become inside guys. Now, how can I attack the offensive line and maybe a tight end? That tight end has to chip block on that stand-up defensive end. But that stand-up defensive end now drops out in the nickel. His responsibility gets a free run at the quarterback because he's so consumed with getting contact on Pierre-Paul. But Pierre-Paul is a dropper now. Easy run at the quarterback, throwaway. How about I put 5 guys across the line of scrimmage, but the 2 defensive ends, those are going to be Devin White and Levante David. They stand up on the hash at the 43-yard line. That's Shaq Barrett, an actual defensive end. The tailback's got to figure out, okay, do I block the defensive end or do I go block Levante David? I'm just a second late in my responsibility, and that's another free run access to the quarterback. You want to see how simply put this game is? Look how clean number 12 for Tampa Bay's jersey is. There is not a spot of grass on a natural surface. There's not a spot of dirt on his jersey. Aaron Rodgers' jersey was covered in mud, covered in dirt, and covered in grass. They got after Aaron Rodgers because they got after the offensive line and backs, and Tom Brady was kept clean. Simple game. Protect the quarterback.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers was sacked just 3 times entering Sunday. Different story on Sunday. All right, time for Big Man Ballin'. Marcus Spears, take it away.
Y'all know what time it is, baby. It's another week's edition of the Big Man Ballin'. So let's get started. I know what you're saying. How in the hell does a running back get on Big Man Ballin'? You know how? Being 6'5", 250-something pounds and being able to go 95 and not get caught from behind. Yes, Derrick Henry made Big Man Ballin' because he a big man and it ain't nothing the secondary can do once he break through the first line of defense. He's an animal. I didn't say animal. I said animal because he's different. My man Deshaun Williams, I told y'all, anytime a big dog get an interception, he will be on Big Man Ballin'. I like to do it when I was in college, so damn it, I'm a highlight when it happens in the league. Cam, do better, because when D linemen pick you off, that's a bad sign. Way to dive, big man. Look at that big man get leverage under that football. And last but not least, this was the best play all of Sunday, and he didn't even make a football play. Brandon Jones comes through, Christian Wilkins gets a sack here, and you see him celebrate. But not that one, folks. Look at this big 315-pound man levitate over the top of a man that's 6 foot. That is Christian Wilkins. Oh, by the way, when he was at Clemson, he hit a split. Yeah, we athletes too. I know y'all like these little guys that run fast and get behind the defense, and Dan likes to talk about the quarterbacks that can scramble and run around. Big men ball too. We just showing y'all a little bit of athleticism.
Yeah, apparently Marcus Spears can do the splits too, so watch out for that. And this might count as a big man ball. We'll see. It's Andy Reid. He's getting ready for the game. Bills and Chiefs in just moments. We're getting closer and closer to kick off that game over on Fox. And we are picking the game next. Find out who we're taking, Chiefs and Bills. That's next on NFL Live. NFL Live is presented by T-Mobile with America's largest 5G network.